Hello, everybody out there today in math land. I'm going to talk to you today about equivalent fractions, simplifying them and just writing equivalent fractions. So when you write equivalent fractions, you're going to be writing fractions that are equal, hence the word equivalent. I'm going to give you a couple of examples and then we'll just do some mathematical problems figuring that. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is 1/4. I drew a picture to show you kind of what 1/4 represents. When I draw fraction pictures, I always like to make pans of brownies. I don't always cut them into equal parts, but they're supposed to be. So this should be shaded in 1/4 of that whole. One part is shaded in of 4 total parts. And all of those parts together would equal one whole. Now, if I wanted to write 1/4 as an equivalent fraction, I could multiply the numerator and denominator, that's the number on the top and on the bottom, by the same number, and that will scale it up, and it will equal an equivalent fraction. So for simple sake, we're going to go ahead and multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. So if I multiply 1 times 2 and 4 times 2, see how I just kind of wrote that in there? I'm going to end up with, you got it, 2/8. And that's going to equal an equivalent fraction. That's an equivalent fraction. So if I drew a line right across here, I have 2 parts now that are shaded in out of 8 total parts. 1, 2 are shaded in. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know that if I'm scaling up by the same number, it's always going to be an equivalent fraction. We can scale up by other numbers too. So we can scale up by, I don't know, 4. Shall we scale up by 4, see what happens? All right. So 1 times 4 and 4 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. You don't really need to show a whole lot of work when you're writing equivalent fractions. You just need to make sure you're showing what you're scaling and what the work is. Okay. So if I'm going to split this up, one line here, there. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are shaded in out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. When you write equivalent fractions, you're just scaling up at the same number. I have another example down here with 2/3. So if I'm scaling by, again, scale by 2. So 2 times 2 and 3 times 2 is going to equal 4/6. You can imagine if there was a line drawn right here, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could also scale by 3. 2 times 3 and 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Again, if I was to scale this or, color my pictures, change my lines, add more lines. Oh, sorry, I forgot my terms here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded in out of 9 total. That's how you write equivalent fractions. Simplifying is really the same thing, except normally you're reducing, you're dividing by the same factors of the numerator and denominator. And this is where greatest common factor is really going to come in handy if you know this. I'm going to pause my video real quick so I can get there. I don't need to pause it. I'll just walk over here. There it is. Okay. So when you write equivalent fractions or simplify fractions, when you're doing that, you're dividing by the same number on the numerator and denominator instead of multiplying by that. I have 4 examples that I'm going to work on with you. 8 divided by 12 will be one of them. 6/15 is another one. We're going to start with 6/15. So 6 and 15 have to have a number that goes into both of them. It has to have a factor, a whole number factor where it has a factor pair that's also a whole number. If you're dividing and you end up with like decimals, that's not going to be helpful. That's not how you simplify fractions. But I do know that 3 goes into 6 and 3 goes into 15 evenly. So if I divide 6 divided by 3 and 15 divided by 3, 6 divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is, oh, I think I heard somebody say 5. Yep. So then I know that my simplified fraction is 2/5. I can always double check it and rewrite it and do 2/5. I'm going to scale it up and multiply my numerator and denominator by the same number. I'm going to equal that same 6/15. What is a factor that goes into both 8 and 12 evenly? What's the greatest common factor that goes into 8 and 12? Biggest number that goes into them evenly? Oh, I think I heard somebody say 4. Yep. Okay. So 8 divided by 4 and 12 divided by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So that's how you simplify your fractions. Let me know if you have any questions. This should be a good review for you.